Hello, clever people, and welcome to my review for Motherless Brooklyn. So Motherless Brooklyn is a movie directed by and starring Edward Norton, as well as starring Bruce Willis and quite a few other actors, Willem Dafoe, for example. It's a very stacked cast and a very talented behind-the-scenes group of people. And this film follows the story of a detective in the 1950s with Tourette's syndrome as he is trying to figure out the death of one of his friends, actually his boss. And in venturing down this, he discovers a lot of really shady criminal things that are happening in the city, and he finds himself stuck in the middle of all of it. I was really looking forward to Motherless Brooklyn because I really liked the vibe that the trailers were giving off. It seemed like a very chill and relaxed detective movie set in the 1950s. I was honestly really looking forward to this movie, and when reviews started coming out, they weren't super positive. I think it currently sits at like a 61 or 62% on Rotten Tomatoes. So not bad, but not great, really just kind of in the middle, and I really wanted this movie to be great. So I went in with high expectations despite the reviews, and I will say the reviews are pretty accurate towards the quality of this movie. I would say that this is a 5 out of 10 movie with some really great, like 9 out of 10 elements in it. One of them is a particular scene that comes kind of towards the later middle of the movie that has to do with the lead actress in the movie. I'm forgetting the actress's name, but her and Edward Norton kind of form a special relationship. And there's a scene in it where Edward Norton is talking about his past and what his childhood was like and what it felt like. And it was that emotional scene that made me realize Edward Norton has a great grasp on emotions, and honestly, I think that this movie could have been incredible if he would have made the movie less focused on trying to solve the crime and more focused on the emotions of this character, because it was an interesting character, and when it was just about the emotions and a special connection between the two characters, I felt so invested. And then all of a sudden the movie switched back to the detective case, and suddenly I literally felt like I was pushed back into my seat and forced to be an audience member again, rather than feeling immersed in the world, because the detective plot in this film is really that dull. I think that this was just too complex of a plot to try to fit in this time frame, and even though the movie is like 2.5 hours long, there was just so much going on all the time, and honestly, it stayed really confusing. And I think a great example of why this movie was confusing is an example of one scene towards the later part. I know I'm bringing up 2 scene examples in a row, but they help explain the bigger problems with the movie. And in this particular scene, they're revealing some big details about a character. It's in a locker. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And they try to show it by zooming in on specific words, but the handwriting is so messy that it's hard to tell what it's saying, and it's cutting so quickly that you can't really tell. And I blame that particular scene on the editing, but overall, the direction of this movie was pretty poor because the mystery was super complex, and honestly, you couldn't really tell what was going on. The performances are still really good though. The use of jazz is really strong, and as a musician, I really liked seeing that the notes that the instruments were playing were accurate, because, like, for example, I just saw the trailer to Soul that just came out, and it's very obvious that the piano playing in that movie is not the actual piano sound. It doesn't match up at all. But in this movie it did, so there is good attention to detail, and you could tell Edward Norton was trying to make an Oscar movie and it didn't pan out too well. And I think he easily could have if he would have abandoned, not entirely, but just focused less on the detective part of this and more on the emotional side of the very interesting character that he built. So in the end, Motherless Brooklyn is not a fantastic movie by any means. It's a sweet movie though. I enjoyed it. There's quite a few enjoyable scenes, some good performances, and it is pretty funny for such a serious detective movie. However, it is heavily weighed down by its problems, so in the end, it's not all that great of a film. I will give Motherless Brooklyn a 6 out of 10. Alright, that concludes my review for Motherless Brooklyn. So, what are your thoughts on this film, or what is your favorite detective movie? Comment in the comment section below and let me know. I'm Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.